The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hey Teddy, have you noticed how little attention science and health issues get in the media?
Totally, Edgar, yet science information is very important.
Yeah, for sure. That's why the Health Journalists Network is here.
How can they help?
They are a group of journalists dedicated to advancing public understanding of healthcare issues through impactful reporting on health and science.
Oh, really?
Yes, they meet up every month with scientists and researchers, policymakers, and activists at the science media cafes. They then relay what they discuss to the public.
Does that benefit us?
Oh yes, very much so. This helps with health and science literacy for a healthy Ugandan society.
Okay. I love getting informed about science and health issues. Health information makes all the difference between life and death. I'll look them up and engage them.
That's great. They are based all over the country.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, and they should be making real impact.
They are empowering health communities through journalism. Journalists can save lives just like doctors.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Butereevu nkwaniriza ku The Alternative Digital TV nze Keneth Rwemirembe Rubatsimbira. Olunaku olwaleero lunaku lwakubiri ennaku z'omwezi ate ziri 26 tuli mu August omwaka 2025. Nkwaniriza nnyo gwe atwegasseeko enkya y'olunaku ate olwaleero twebaza Katonda okubanga ate neera bukeseza nga tuli balamu. Wayagala emboozi ezizimba oli mu kifo kituufu. Wano twogera ku mboozi ezizimba eggwanga ezituzimba nga bannayuganda oba ng'abantu ffenna gye tuwangaalira. Kano kaba kaseera ka The Mighty Drive, tubeera wano Monday to Friday ssaawa zibeera 2 ez'okumakya ate okutuuka ku ssaawa 4 ez'akalasamayanzi. Tusooka n'akanyumiro kano aka The Mighty Global News Updates. Mwe tukuweera updates oba ebyo ebyakoze amawulire olunaku olw'eggulo oba n'olunaku olwaleero n'ebyo bye tusuubira okubanga bihappeninga soon. So gwe ayagala amawulire oli mu kifo kituufu, ayagala emboozi ezizimba naawe tuula kkalira nyiga ka subscribe button tolinda wegatire ddala ku thousands and tens of thousands of people abatufollowinga buli lukya. Nkwaniriza ate ngenda kubanga nkuyisaamu ku mawulire gaffe ag'olunaku olwaleero. Muno tulina amawulire mangi omuli olutalo wakati wa Honorable Alitwala Kadaga ne Honorable Anita Amongo lukyagendera ddala mu maaso mu kibiina ki NRM. Ebweru w'eggwanga twalabye nga ate Russia ne Ukraine olutalo lweyongera kugenda mu maaso, drones ezataakinga ebifo eby'enkizo nga Russia bwegezaako okubanga ate ewamba ebitundu ebisinga oba ebigiriraanye bino nno nga bitundu bya Ukraine. Olutalo lukyagendera mu maaso, ebyo n'ebirala byendese mu The Mighty Global News Updates y'olunaku ate olwaleero. Kyenkusaba ggwe ogugwo gwakumpa matu na maaso ate nkutambuze mpola mpola nga bwe tutunuulira ebyo ebyakoze amawulire. Saba ntandike n'emboozi ya bannaffe bano ab'ekibiina ki NRM nga bano nno beegwanyiza bifo byanjawulo mu kakiiko kano akakulu aka SEC. Olunaku olw'eggulu wabaddewo tabamiruka w'ekibiina kino ki NRM nga ate tubadde tusuubira nti oba oli awo olunaku olw'eggulu omu ku bana ababiri Honorable Anita Among ne Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga omu ku abo oba oli awo anaabaviiridde munne naye tekyasobose yadde nga President Museveni yasabye aludde asaba ababiri bano babenga baleka omu aveeyo ku kifo kye byesimbyeko ekya Second National Vice Chairman oba Chairperson w'ekibiina ku female oba omukyala. Kubano kubabaddeko Honorable Anita Among ne Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga. Embeera ekyali waggulu nnyo, tension nyingi mu kibiina olw'okuba nti ababiri bano obaoli awo balina kulyanyi. Kati buli omu abadde awerekeza munne ebigambo ebikaawu. Twawuliddeko nga Honorable Rebecca Litwala Kadaga agamba nti omuntu international community gwetakyakiriza kufuluma ggwanga nga emulanga corruption tasaanye kukulembera kibiina ki NRM. Bangi kye basuubira nti yabadde ategeeza Honorable Anita Among, wabula ye Anita Among agamba ekifo kyalimu ekyobwa speaker bwa parliament kijja kuyamba nnyo okwongera ku kibiina singa n'abayiseewo ku kibiina ajja kusobola okuyisa ebyo ebigasa ekibiina ng'atudde mu ntebe ey'obwa speaker. So lw'ensonga eyo n'agamba nti ye ajja kukozesa ekifo ekyo kyaliko ekyobwa speaker okubanga atuukiriza ebyo NRM ekibiina kye National Resistance Movement kye byetaaga. Kale nno n'agamba nti munne Honorable Rebecca Kadaga abenga akireka ekifo kino bamufunire ekifo ekirala ku kakiiko kano oba ku lukiiko olukulu olwa SEC. President Museveni nga bwe yasuubiza nti omwana aviira munne president wa kumuyisaawo nga special nominee mu abo president banominatinga okubeera ku kakiiko kano. Competition ekyali y'amaanyi wetwogerera nga kati tulinze lunaku lwakuna okulaba oba Honorable Kadaga ono ne Honorable Among mu kalulu ke banaagendamu ani anaasinga ku munne. Wabula nga abantu bakyayo boogera bingi, abamu bagamba nti Honorable Anita Among ono alina support ya president okusinga ku ya Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. Mu kwogera kwa president bino nno ye yagambye nti si bituufu, talina ye ludda ate lwawagira okusinga ku ludda olulala. Naye twawulidde mu kwogera kwa Honorable Anita Among agamba nti singa si President Museveni oba oli awo Anita Among yalibadde ali bweru, nga yeebaza President Museveni okumubeererawo n'okuba nga ate aleese demokrasi mu kibiina, ng'agamba maanyi ge ge gamusobozesezza ate okubanga yeesimbawo mu kifo kino yadde ng'emyaka oba oli awo tannamala mingi mu kibiina. Ye Honorable Kadaga mu kwogera kwalaga nti embeera enno yakumunyigiriza, tewaliiwo bwenkanya n'akamu n'akeddagala, nti kino kiri targeted ku ye ng'omuntu ne bannabusoga. Newankubadde olunaku olw'eggulu n'ali wano n'ekutegeeza nti President Museveni bino nno byonna yagambye nti ebyebusoga teri muntu amusinga maanyi mu busoga, nti ye yakomyawo obwakyabazinga. So kibi oba si kituufu omuntu yenna oba politician okuvaayo ate n'agamba nga ye bw'alina amaanyi mu kitundu oba bw'akikoledde ebirungi okusinga ye President Museveni. Singa omuntu yenna anaaba ayogedde ekyo aba alimba, tegabeera mazima. Mu bitundu by'ebusoga tumanye nti Honorable Rebecca Litwala Kadaga ayinayo obuwagizi oba oli awo bungiko, ne bangi bagamba nti kino nno kyandireetera ekibiina okwawukana oba okubeera n'ebiwayo ebibiri, ekiwagira Anita Among n'ekiwagira Rebecca Kadaga. Kale ekyo nti oba oli awo kiyinza okunafuya support ekibiina ki NRM gye kibadde nakyo mu bitundu by'ebusoga, era tulinze tulabe oba kinaatuukirizibwa bwekito. Naye ku bantu abalala babadde mu kalulu kano aka SEC okubanga bafuna ebifo ku lukiiko luno olukulu olw'ekibiina olufuga, abamu bavuddeyo nga beemulugunya nga bagamba nti bacandidates abagenda okukuba akalulu abakubira bacandidates nti bali mu kuwambibwa na kubuzibwawo olw'abo abantu abaagala okuyitawo abatya competition. Era twalabye nga abamu ku abo bacandidates baabulira ebifo bye badde beesimbyeko ne bava mu race. Muno nno nga mwe muli Sanjay Tanangono abadde ayagala kube ng'akiikirira abasuubuzi ku SEC wano. Bangi beemulugunya olw'ebintu oba oli awo bye balabanga bo tebitambula bulungi mu kibiina ki NRM, nga bagamba nti waliwo abaana n'ebyana. Kale nno ensonga eyo tukyagirondoola nnyo okubanga ate tukutuusaako amawulire amaaso n'amatu biri ku lunaku lwakuna. Otusuubira bano abanene ababiri, Right Honorable Speaker Anita Among ne eyali Speaker wa Parliament Honorable Rebecca Litwala Kadaga bwe banattunka Thursday mu kalulu tulabe ani ate anaaba ayiseewo. Kyenkusaba subscribinga, tujja kubanga emboozi eno tugikuwa butereevu tovaako ku digital kuba amawulire bw'ovaako oba ogasubwa. Eyo nno bwe nvaayo ngendako direct mu kibiina ki National Unity Platform nga bano nno olunaku ate olw'eggulo baasiibye mu bitundu by'e Uganda eno nno nga baali batongoza ofiisi yaabwe oba headquarters zaabwe mu Eastern Region. Eno headquarters bazimbye zabadde nnene oba oli abo bagambye zibadde tezisuubirwa nga bw'oli mu kulaba awo ku screen. Bagambye nti yabadde surprise nti n'abantu abali mu gavumenti omuli n'ab'ebyokwerinda nti teri yategedde nti kino ekizimbe ekibadde kya National Unity Platform. N'agamba nga bwebadde surprise okusitula ekizimbe gaggadde bwe kityo nti bweneebeera surprise neera nga bamaamulako gavumenti yoyo bo gwe bayita nakyemalira gavumenti ya President Museveni nti essaawa yonna bakugijjawo mu surprise nga bwe baleese ekizimbe ekinene bwe kityo mu surprise. Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi, President w'ekibiina kino ki National Unity Platform, mu kwogera kwe yavuddeyo n'agamba nti ssente zazimbye ekizimbe ekyo z'ababaka b'ekibiina oba abakiikirira abantu be bakutte ssente zaabwe b'ekibiina ki National Unity Platform ne bakuŋŋaanya akasente akazimbye ofiisi zaabwe ezo nga basuubira nti zaakwongera bingi nnyo ku lugendo luno oba ku struggle eno gye baliko ey'okubanga bajjawo gavumenti ya NRM. Mu kwogera kwe era Kyagulanyi kwe yasinzidde n'asaba Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadago kubanga ate abeegattako. Yagambye nti Honorable Rebecca Kadago ono aleme kulinda kujogebwa kususse oba okusukkaawo nti ajogeddwa ekimala mu kibiina ki NRM. Kale nno nga bo aba National Unity Platform bamwetaaga. Yabyogedde mu Lusoga ng'agamba nti ye Maama Kadaga bo ng'ab'ekibiina ki National Unity Platform bamwetaaga. Kibaluma okulaba nga ayisibwa bubi nga bo ate ab'ekibiina ki National Unity Platform bamulabamu omulamwa. Kale nno President w'ekibiina kino ki National Unity Platform, President Robert Kyagulanyi kwe kumusaba Honorable Kadago ono ajje abeegatteko mu kibiina ki NUP basobole okumaamulako gavumenti gye bayita eyannakyemalira. Tulinze response okuva eri Kadaga. Kino nno kituukidde mu kaseera nga ne Kadaga ebintu tebimutambulira bulungi nga bwe nsoose okukutegeeza mu kibiina ki NRM ebintu nga bwe biri mu mbiranye yaabwe ne Honorable Anisani Tamo. Kale nno tulinze tulabe obanga Kadaga ono anaajoyininga kibiina ki National Unity Platform. Singa anaaba akijoyininze ejja kubeera obuli awo achievement y'amaanyi eri ekibiina ki NUP naddala nnyo mu abo abali royo eri Honorable Kadaga ono mu bitundu by'e Busoga. Kiyinza obuli awo ate okwongera ku support ya Honorable Kyagulanyi mu ndowooza y'abangi. Eyo nno bwe nvaayo ate ka ngende straight ku story ya Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago wano nno akyali mu struggle ey'okuba ng'alemesa omugaga Hamisi Kigundo okubanga project ye y'ennakivubo egenda mu maaso. Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago nzize nkutegeeza mu mawulire gaffe wano nti yawandiikirako offices ezimu mu ggwanga omuli eya kalisoliso wa gavumenti ne leader of opposition George Ssenyonyi n'abakulu mu nnema nga abategeeza ku project ya HAM ey'okuzimba ku mwala gw'ennakivubo. Ye kyagamba nti kiri mu kukolebwa mu bukyamu newankubadde twalaba ebbaluwa eva mu ofiisi ya President Museveni nga eraga nga HAM ono bwe yali aweereddwa olukusa okuva waggulu nga bali mu kuinstructinga Prime Minister w'eggwanga Honorable Robina Nabbanja abe nga ayambako HAM okutuukiriza pulaani ye eno. Kati ye Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago yagezaako okubanga ate alemesa project eno okugenda maaso nga agamba nti HAM ono teyayita mu mitendera mituufu girambikibwa okubanga ateekawo project eno kwe kuloopa eri abo basuubira nti bekikwatako. Kale nno nanenya ne councillors bagamba nti bayisa ekiteeso nti HAM ono azimbe ku mwala guno nga kigambibwa nti abamu ku councillor oba oli abo bafunayo ekyoja mu miro ne baleka project eno okugenda mu maaso. Kati olunaku lw'eggulo mu meeting yaabwe ya State Council nga bali mu meeting yaabwe ye bo bakansala bavuddeyo ate ne boogera bubi eri Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago nga bagamba nti aleme kwetooloola olwo nno yabadde abawa ripooti ku bya haamu ng'aleme kwetooloola atuukire ddala ku nsonga bo gye bagamba nti abayisizaamu nnyo amaaso era aveeyo yeetonde okubanga abasibako ekyokubanga baalya okusirikira ensonga ya haamu projekiti okuzimba ku mwala gw'e Nakivubo. Bakansala baagala nti Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago bw'aba alina gw'amanyi eyalya ssente okuwagira haamu mu kino nti amwogere okusinga okusiiga erinnya ebbi eri abo bakansalazi bonna awamu. Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago tebyamubeeredde bulungi ate nga bagamba nti ye aveeyo yeetonde. Wabula omulodi Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago akyakalambidde ng'agamba nti haamu atwalibwe mu mbuga z'amateeka asibibwe olw'okukola ebintu nga tayise mu mitendera naddala nnyo okuzimba ku mwala guno nga tayise mu mitendera. Twakitegeddeko nti ekitongole KCCA kibadde tekinnamuwa bbaluwa ntongole emukkiriza okubanga ate atandika pulojekiti eno newankubadde ng'okusaba kwe bagamba baali bakufuna naye nga tebanaba kubanga bamuwa go ahead. Nga tanaba kufuna go ahead eno projekiti yo ate ebadde egenda mu maaso. Boolyawo Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago kyali mu kulemerako nti projekiti eno eyimirizibwe ne haamu ate abenga asasula atwalibwa mu mbuga z'amateeka avunaanibwe nga nabakansalazi nabo beemulugunya ku kya Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago okubateekako erinnya eryo nti baalya kale nno ng'ate bo bagamba nti oboolyawo ate ekyo si kituufu kifu bwe fuufululufu. Eyo nno nga nvuddeyo nzikiriza nkutwaleko mu sitole y'abafumbo ababiri battibwa mu bukambwe mu kibuga Entebbe eno nga ye Mutaaga family omwami David Mutaaga ne Florence Mutaaga. Ababiri bano baatemulwa era akatambi kasaasaanira nnyo ku mutimbagano akatambi ka CCTV nga balaga nti abafumbo bano baali bakava ebweru gye baali bawangaalidde emyaka emingi mu ggwanga le Switzerland bwe baali bakomyewo ate ku butaka Uganda nga bamaze nakwesanyusaamu kukola kabaga nga bayisa ab'eŋŋanda ate n'ab'emikwano mu kifo ekyo bajje babakyalireko ate babe nga basanyukira wamu. Olunaku ekiro ekyo kyennyini nga bavudde mu kabaga ako abatemu abatamanyikibwa mu katambi tulaba nga omutemu omu ayingira mu nnyumba ate n'atemula abantu bano ababiri munda mu maka gaabwe. Omwami David Mutaaga ne ne Florence Mutaaga ate ne battibwa mu bukambwe. Kuva ku lunaku olwo poliisi ezze enoonyereza kwani eyakola obutemu buno. Era poliisi yassaawo obukadde 50 eri oyo yenna ayinza okuyambako poliisi okutuuka ku mutemu ono n'okumukwata era netta akatambi nga mulimu amaloboozi ng'egamba nti yenna asobole okurecognizinga amaloboozi ago ayambeko poliisi okubanga ate ekwata abantu bano oba omuntu ono eyatemula abafumbo bano ababiri. Ne kati poliisi tenaba kubanga ate ekwata oyo eyatemula abantu bano ababiri. Wabula olunaku olw'eggulo twategeddeko nti poliisi yazinzeeko amaka agamu nga bw'oli mu kulaba ku screen awo negeetooloola negaza neyingira munda okubanga ate ekuŋŋaanywa obujulizi. Ku lunaku lwe lumu era twalabyeko ng'omuntu omu akwatibwa nga suspect mu keesi eno eya Mutaaga oba family omwami David Mutaaga ne Florence Mutaaga abattibwa ku nsonga ezo ezibakwatako. Awo twalabidde ng'omuntu akwatibwa poliisi ng'esazeeko ekifo wetakkiriza abantu kubanga basemberera nga ekitundu ekyo kibadde kisiringiddwako abo ebyokwerinda mu makaago agamu mu bitundu by'Entebbe. Ye Kituma Rusoke ng'ono ye mwogezi wa poliisi mu ggwanga yavuddeyo n'ayogera n'agamba nti bo nga poliisi tebatudde omusango guno bakyagunoonyereza ddala okumanya ani yatemula ate basobole okubanga bamukwata. Wabula n'ategeeza nga bw'atayinza kwogera bisussaawo olw'ensonga z'ebyokwerinda nti naye ayina kulu yonna ayinza okubayamba okubanga batuuka ku mutemu ono ayingirire ddalawo statement ye oba ayogere ku ye byasuubira ku mutemo ono banga recognizinga amaloboozi agali mu katambi kano ate singa anayamba poliisi okutuuka ku muntu oyo eyatemula abafumbo bano ababiri poliisi ejja kubanga ate emuwa obukadde 50. N'agamba nti ebisingawo bakyali mu kukuŋŋaanya evidence ajja kubanga ate avaayo ategeeze bannayuganda ebikwata ku Mutaaga family eno. Kati nzikiriza olwakadde nfulume eggwanga Uganda nkutuuseeko ebyo ebiri ebweru nga wano nno nkutwalira ddala mu ggwanga lya Ukraine. Olutalo lukyagenda mu maaso nzize nkutegeeza wano ebibadde bituukiddwako mu kugezaako okululemesa. Twalaba nga President Vladimir Putin, President w'eggwanga lya Russia, asinkana mukwano gwe ow'eggwanga lya America, President Donald Trump, balabe nga bayimiriza olutalo luno mu pistols ze baafuna mu kibuga Alaska wabula oba mu state ya Alaska. Naye nga bwetwogerera ye President Vladimir Zelensky naye yali asinkanye President Donald Trump nga bonna bakyanoonya strategy eziyimiriza lutalo luno. Naye nga kati olunaku ate olw'eggulo twalabye nga drones ziddamu okulumba ebitundu bya Donbass mu ggwanga ate eri Ukraine Ukraine egamba Russia ekozesa drones okubanga ate ekuba ebifo eby'amaanyi mu bitundu bya Ukraine nga ategezaako n'okubanga ewamba ebitundu ebyetoolodde Russia ku boda ya Ukraine ne Russia ebitundu ebisinga bimaze okubanga ate biwambibwa nga ekitundu ekisigadde ekikyaliko olutalo olw'amaanyi kyekya Donbass nga kino nno kiri kumpi n'ebyo ebyawambibwa kibuga ebyawambibwa okuva ku ggwanga lya Ukraine nga biri mu control y'amagye g'eggwanga lya Russia. President Volodymyr Zelensky mu kwogera kwe ngono ye president wa eggwanga lya Ukraine yagambye nti bali mu kwerwanako nga bwe basobola wadde nga pistols zigenda mu maaso n'okulaba butyabwe bayimiriza olutalo luno nti bo eggwanga lya Ukraine bakubeerezaamu okubanga ate beerwanako nga na process ey'okutuula ne Vladimir Putin president w'eggwanga lya Russia process y'okumumiitinga bwegenda mu maaso balabe nga olutalo luno luyimirira. Sergei Lavrov ngono ye minister wa foreign minister oba minister w'ensonga z'ebweru yavuddeyo n'ategeeza nga Russia bweri ready okubanga eyimiriza olutalo luno singa eggwanga lya Ukraine lyesonyiira ddala ebyokujoininga NATO. Nali nakutegeezaako olwaki eggwanga lya Russia lino teryagala Ukraine ebenga eyeegatta ku NATO nga mumwe muli ebyokwerinda okulaba nti amawanga gano ag'abazungu agali mu NATO tegasembera eggwanga lya Russia. Kale nno Sergei Lavrov yavuddeyo n'agamba nti singa President Volodymyr Zelensky wa Ukraine yesonyiwa ebyokujoininga NATO ate nakkiriza okubanga awaayo territories ez'eggwanga lya Ukraine ezimu n'aziwaayo eri Abarussia ate nabo bakumuwa assured security nti teri kubanga ate bamukwatako emirembe gya kuddamu ate okulabikira mu ggwanga lya Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky kino nno agamba tebayinza kukikkiriza bo bakufa bwekubanga okufa kwe kwetaagisa basevinga eggwanga lyabwe nti ekyo bakukikola tebali ready kubanga ate bawaayo ebitundu bye bamanyi bulungi nti bya ggwanga lyabwe ate bo ng'eggwanga bali independent. So ne bagamba nti President Vladimir Putin owa Russia ebyo ebyokutwala ettaka lyabwe oba ebitundu byabwe bya Ukraine abenga byesonyiwa ate discussinge ebirala. Embiranywa ekyali kukubanga eggwanga lya Ukraine likkiriza ebitundu byalyo okubanga ate bitwalibwa n'ensonga ey'okubiri ey'okubanga tebajoininga NATO mbeera ya bunkenke Ukraine eno erabikanga eteesiga eggwanga lya Russia okubanga yeesonyiwa NATO gyesuubira okubanga ate NATO eno ebayamba ne bawa protection okuva ku protection from Putin's aggression gye basuubira nti oba oliawo okujoininga NATO kinaabayamba okubawa ku bukuumi singa baba tebagijoininze President Vladimir Putin ono wa Russia waakubeerezaamu na gooli ye yakuwamba eggwanga lya Ukraine. Obadde mulungi nnyo owa The Mighty Global News Updates nkwebaza okubanga otambudde naffe naye nkujjukiza ti olunaku olwaleero ate mu ddakiika entono okuva kati omugenyi wange ajja kubanga ate aneegattako twongere okukuba ttooki mu nsonga z'abavubuka ziba mboozi ezizimba tovaako nkomawo.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi, Rogers. Can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes, it can. Although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
But at the church, though,
Tawali man, what's up?
man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, Recorder. Did you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Nkwaniza nnyo okubanga ate okyali naffe tuli mu Mighty Drive tutambula Monday to Friday essaawa zibeera 2 ez'okumakya okutuuka ate ku ssaawa 4 ez'akalasamayanzi. Kulikayo nnyo mu updates zaffe ez'olunaku ate olwaleero nsuubira weeyongedde okubanga ate otegeera ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga. Nga bwe nakusuubizza nti nja kuba n'omugenyi wano mu studios. She's already with us here, aspiring LC5 woman councillor. Makerere University. Thank you so much for joining us. She will be speaking to us and we will be talking about issues regarding the youth, and we are seeing the youth influence towards the change of democratic dynamics in Uganda. Are the youth benefiting? We are the largest percentage in Uganda, So we shall be talking about the youth. We talk about her as a person briefly, but our main discussion will be around the youth. So if you are a youth out there, please be part of this conversation. I believe it will be very nice. My name is Keneth Rwemirembe, and I will invite her to speak to you. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Say hi to our viewer out there.
Good morning, viewers. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope that today's conversation will be quite fruitful to you. Yes.
Oh, thank you. So, who is Kirabo Marion? To someone out there who doesn't know who Kirabo Marion is.
Okay. Kirabo Marion is a lawyer by profession, but also has been a human rights activist and a woman rights activist. I currently lead a small organization that is geared towards empowering women, especially women in democracy, so that we can produce more transformative leaders that can be relevant to society. But also, in addition to that, when it comes to Makerere, I have also been a student leader at Makerere that led several initiatives. For example, the Fees Must Fall initiative to ensure that we have affordable education at Makerere, but also projects against sexual harassment within the university. So I have been a leader in Makerere when I was still a student there, and therefore the constituency is not new to me. Leadership in the constituency is not new to me. But on the other fronts, I have also been part of initiatives like March to Parliament, especially in helping the participants receive legal aid, but also tracking. I was part of the volunteers who helped the participants in terms of tracking, knowing which cells they have been imprisoned in, making sure they all received legal services. So I have been in the activist space, mostly as an activist, but also a support system for activists. Yeah, so really that is me
the
as a
now
person.
part now, I want this new person coming in.
So currently I am now aspiring for the seat of LC5 woman aspirant, so LC5 woman councillor on the National Unity Platform ticket. Makerere is quite a unique constituency, I would say. Apart from the rest of the sub-counties, it's unique because it's a sub-county but also an institution, and a government institution, which means that most of its services that would have been under the jurisdiction of KCCA are really handled by the university itself. However, when we talk about the role of councillors, then that becomes unique, that apart from representing it on KCCA, you find that you then need to get involved in the affairs of the university in order to effectively represent your people, which means that when it comes to, let me say, non-teaching staff who make up the bulk of my voters, people will expect you to stand up for them, let me say, when they have issues with the university about certain entitlements that they feel that they're entitled to but have not gotten. Though it is not your role, but you have to get involved, because at the end of the day, as their representative, you're supposed to be their voice wherever you are. And that is why even on Makerere University Council, there is a KCCA representative, which ideally would be one of the Makerere councillors. So you become the voice of the people, advocating for them, supporting them in different ways, whether it's staff, whether it is students, putting their issues forward wherever you can.
All right. Thank you for that great introduction. I believe our viewer out there can now know the kind of caliber you weigh now. So that's so interesting. I'm really glad to hear that you
Yeah.
have contributed towards the positivity of your place, even our country, Uganda. So at your age, you're young, I would say. It sounds somehow unbelievable. Maybe like, I'm not saying that's not true, but it sounds like, oh my God, what kind of person this is? So one would ask, what has inspired Kirabo Marion to go through such a process that I believe your main focus has been to see a positive change?
Yeah.
So what is that is pushing you? What inspires you to come in, not even here as the aspiring LC5 woman councillor, but even that brief background you have talked about? What has kept inspiring you, and what is inspiring you to this very minute?
I think for me, leadership, the reason why I aspire to leadership is that I think I deserve good leaders. I think I deserve leaders who care about me, my community. I think I deserve leaders who, even when things are hard, wake up every morning to try and make headway and try and fight to see that things get better, no matter how little those steps are towards that change, and no matter how long that change takes. So my belief has always been, if you find that in that community, for example, we are struggling with a governance problem in this country, now and again we as young people keep on looking to this old cohort that is currently in power, that continuously abuses our rights, continually abuses our country, is really there to enrich themselves and their families. So as young people, it is our duty to rise up and say that no, we think this is wrong, we think we deserve better, and at the end of the day, you are in the evenings of your life. Everything you do right now will not directly affect you. You might be long and gone before you feel the effects, the major effects. Right now we're feeling the effects, but it's going to get worse. So the person who is going to receive the brunt of every decision you make is us young people. Therefore, it is our duty to step up and say no. We deserve a better caliber of leaders, and we can provide that leadership. Yeah.
So that's the kind of inspiration that pushes you morning, day and night to come in.
Yes.
So you've talked about, like, you believe that no matter how slow the process may be, you believe in that great future. You know, every step contributes towards reaching that great future. But we've had a challenge of maybe the youth believing in things that happen instantly. If I do this, let's rush. Don't you find that a challenge? Dealing now, you're like a youth, so I believe you deal with the youth as well.
Yeah.
Don't you find it a challenge to deal with the youth who believe in quick returns? We are removing the dictator. The next week, if you fail this week, for us, we are not with you. Don't you find it a challenge somehow? Like a person who sees that great future and you believe you can go step by step, no matter how hard and long it takes, and you achieve that.
I think when you're in a struggle sometimes, there are things that catalyze that struggle. There are different points at which people feel that they have a lot of hope that things will change, and things will change sooner than later. The problem is when the sooner comes, I think. I particularly cannot condemn anyone who after putting in so much faith has lost hope. But I will also say that if we look at, let me say, South Africa and how long apartheid took, and how Nelson Mandela spent like 20 years fighting that struggle, and then we compare it to, let me say, the current president Museveni going for 5 years. I think every struggle has its journey. The thing is that we should never lose hope, because at the end of the day, what is the alternative? The alternative is that then we stay in this downtrodden country that is being abused. We stay with corrupt leaders, that we stay with a country that is rigged with violence, where by any time you fear that you can be picked up, and never seen again by your family, that the status quo continues. So we have no choice but to hang in there and continue to push. On the other hand, I acknowledge the human nature of, let me say, disappointment and feeling as if you have lost all hope. But then I say the alternative is worse. The hopelessness is worse, that you will not have, you can't remain like this. You know, you have to keep the faith no matter what, and we have to keep on pushing. Our time will come. Liberation will come eventually, but the thing is not to give up. We don't know how close we are. I mean, tomorrow,
just keep moving,
yes, you keep on moving. Tomorrow, the things that spark off, I mean, if we look at the Arab Spring, a man just waking up one day and saying, I am tired, I'm going to just burn myself because I'm tired, and that sparks the revolution. So you don't know what can spark it.
What step can bring that change you have been looking for?
Yes, it can be some. It can come from a place that none of you expected, and things come. You would have never thought, let me say, 10 years back, that Honorable Chagulanyi would be the one to lead young people right now. It would have never crossed your mind, right? But it's happening, and we see it. So you don't know what brings the spark. You just have to keep on pushing and never give up. And those little things that we do are the ones we say, you guys are playing muli mumuzanyo vishi vishi. Those little things, you don't know how they are contributing. You never know the impact until something big happens.
That's great. Do Ugandans, do the people out there understand that in a way you're explaining it? Do you, like someone who has been on the ground, do you see Ugandans picking up this? Are they understanding it, that no matter how slow the process is, it may yield good results? Do the Ugandans understand it, or you still find it a challenge to make them buy this?
I think Ugandans understand that. I think Ugandans are very resilient people. I think given our history, we have been through a lot. But even right now, you see people putting up pockets of resistance, even when they know that it's risky. I mean, take, for example, the protest vote in Kampala, or the protest vote that we actually had. I would say the protest vote even began in 2021, where you see, let me say, the towns are red. And it would have been much massive, and I believe that we would have scored the victory if it wasn't for the violence and the militarization. I think that in itself shows you that Ugandans do believe in a hope of a new Uganda, and they are keeping that faith. The challenge would be how they express that resistance and that hope, that they have very few avenues to express it. It would have been in the campaigns, in the rallies, but you see the state actively trying to suppress those avenues of expression.
Those coming out to talk
yes,
about
that coming out to talk about it. But you can see it in the people. You can see the hope in the people. You can see the resistance. You can see the fight to, they need to fight back and say, you know, we are tired. Sometimes they even express it in the way that I think you see in 2021, how even in the NRM, the cohort of old cadres left, were booted out, and then new people surfaced. Mostly independent candidates went through in the NRM, remember. Some who had lost in primaries and eventually won. So I think that Ugandans are on the same page. Even when they are repressed and they are threatened and killed, they still express that hope.
And the desire for that new Uganda they do want to see.
Yeah.
Oh, that is honorable. We call you honorable, really, though we wait for that today when you officially declared the winner, and we do wish that happens.
Amen.
We are still with Honorable Kirabo Marion, and we are was asking her about some of the things that maybe she believes in regard to how the youth are being involved in bringing a new Uganda that we do hear them speak about each passing day. But you are coming on the National Unity Platform card.
Yes.
something that may be seen as challenging by some people out there, because right now we have seen people who are being abducted because of they believe in NUP or any other opposition political party. What forced you to choose NUP? Because even we have been hearing President Museveni speak and say, those of you who choose people from opposition, don't expect any good thing from them. How can we deal with those people? They don't even come to us. So with such an environment, what would inspire young you join NUP, come on the NUP card? Do you think you will be given a platform to deliver the best to your people and your voters?
I think the first thing would be that I appreciate NUP for opening up doors for young people to express themselves and believing in them as leaders. Being a young person, I joined the political space when I was relatively young. I think I was around 23, now 29. And there was a lot of gatekeeping, even in the opposition parties, I would say. You're too young, your time has not yet come, you know. But also because at the top, these old cadres had nowhere to go. Some of them would have been aspiring for president, maybe some of them would be ministers, but because they're in the opposition and there is that, you know, there is that glass ceiling.
That barrier.
There was no one going up. And so for us, we could not come in, right? So here comes a whole new platform with a young leader who perhaps has also been pushed out because there was that controversy. I remember there was that controversy of what we came, nemutuzarawa, vichi. So
but see where we are now.
Yeah, but see where we are now. So here comes this young person. He has this party. The old guard perhaps does not believe in him as much. So he is forced to look at fellow young people to be part of his platform. And for me, that's one thing I appreciate about NUP. If you look through our candidates, most of them are young. If you look through our parliamentarians, they are young people. A good number of them are below 30 years old, you know. So I think I appreciate NUP for that, and I think as young people we owe them that loyalty because they have provided that space of expression. The second thing is that I aspire to the beliefs and the values of NUP, of that new Uganda, that new Uganda that belongs to the common man, that where the common man has a voice. Most of the times, like I said, you might be forced to give up hope. You might be forced to be like, NIM Fachi, you know, things that become Kamviveko. But the thing is that we have no choice as Ugandans. Because whereas you say you are going to quit, at the end of the day you're going to get sick and you're going to go to the dilapidated hospital. You might lose your life. So today the person who's resisting is losing their lives to a gunshot, but you, who has cowered away, you're losing your life because the medications were not there. You get, so all of you are dying in this Uganda, but at least this one had the courage to what? To face up and wake up and be like, no, I deserve better. So I think it's a choice between, I've forgotten the philosopher said, what would you rather choose, dying on your knees or dying when you're standing up? Because at the end of the day,
while you're trying to bring out something
yes, while you're trying to bring out something, because at the end of the day, you're all going to die. There are many people losing their lives, many women who are losing their lives because they do not have the antenatal care that is necessary for them to deliver their kids safely. There are many people who are losing their lives because of the way our roads are. There are many people who are losing their lives in so many different ways because of the lack of social services in this country. So at the end of the day, the poor service delivery of this government will find you. You get?
Yes.
Rather it finds you fighting. Yeah. So
you choose to come on NUP card regardless, you see, I better come. But the reason I was asking this is because some your voters Well, I expect a lot from you. Like,
Yeah.
we expect our leader to do this, make our voice heard,
Yeah.
bring this, let this start functioning, this and that, you know that. They will be asking for that. But the government in power is targeting you, the people from opposition, such that you don't deliver to your voters' expectations, then you could be got rid of. So don't you think that would be a challenge somehow, coming as an opposition member in a government that is fighting so hard, like you're explaining, to silence you?
Well, I would say that even if you join them, they are still not delivering
not
service.
deliver.
So it is really a catch-22. If someone tells me that I joined the NRM better service delivery, I mean they are not even delivering to their people. They are flying, when it comes to hospitals, they are flying abroad to Nairobi and God knows where to get their treatment. The hospitals in their constituencies, they can't even go to them. You get?
Yes.
When it comes to schools, they are flying their kids all over the place. Even them, when they want to do masters, they can't come to Makerere, they'll go abroad. But you know, these schools in their places are for their constituents who they don't care about, and therefore they don't care about even improving the schools. So it's a catch-22. I'd rather be on the side of people trying to push and condemning the wrongs than to be on the side of people who are complacent in their corruption, in their wickedness, I would say. You get? So at least I'm trying to do better and advocate
voters
for
can
better.
see that you're trying,
Yes.
but the government in power is trying to silence you.
Yes.
Oh.
And I wouldn't say that it is all futile. I would say that sometimes when you make a lot of noise, we have seen it before, that sometimes, although it's these days it is quite difficult because the government in power is hell-bent on having its way, but in the times before, opposition MPs or councillors would advocate for some things, and there would be a kind of protection and a pushback. You get that some of those policies would be, would be pushed back. Or let me say, for example, I know that universal education really came as a reaction of government to some of Besigye's agendas, you get. So I wouldn't say it is all futile, that sometimes when you advocate for something so strongly and the people are behind you, because this government does not want a spark, it pushes back. The thing is for us not to get tired and continue to push even when we do not see headway. I'll give, for example, the recent judgment on military courts that came after many years and many years of pushing back. Yes, the government now wants to take away the gains of the people and reinstitute them and really render the judgment as, as useless. But at least it has been a significant win, that after all these years we have managed to score in that level of protection. Yes, the implementation has not been good, that our people are still behind bars.
But so far so good.
But yes, I think also we sometimes look at all the bad. I know it's glaring, but we should also tap our shoulders on the good things,
that
the little,
so far
the little
achieved.
Achievements that we have had to keep us
That's
going.
great. I really love how you talk about them with passion. You talk about bringing that positive change with passion, and I love it. I love that. I would ask you, maybe, we have seen councillors being manipulated, like those people with money paying them, and they pass motions that maybe wouldn't even benefit the local people. It is on record that councillors are being manipulated. It's something you'll have to really fight. What makes Kirabo Marion a special person to not indulge in such?
Well, I would say, like I already gave my profile, I have a track record of fighting for for the rights of my constituents, whether it was as a student leader, whether it was an activist when I left campus. So the track record is already there. There is no doubt that that will fall unless something
this
happens.
time round you will take something and keep quiet. You never kept quiet some time back.
Yes,
so
I never kept quiet. There were always those opportunities
Yeah,
to be bribed and bought out, but we have kept steady and fast. But to me, I would say to the people that at the end of the day, when it comes to leadership, yes, there are so many avenues for you to express your decision or your vote or who you want to be your leader. There's a lot of intimidation, you know, whenever I go into an election, there's a risk of you dying.
Yeah.
But I still think it's important to show up. If a leader has disappointed you, vote them out. Vote in someone that you think is going to do better than the person. That's why we have elections, that we continuously have to remove the chaff and bring in new blood.
Yes.
You know, we can never have a guarantee that the leader you're going to vote in is going to do this. They might have been good in the past,
but this time round they change everything
yes.
and mess
So
up
that is
the
why
system.
elections are important. That we have tried you for 5 years, go and we try someone new. So that no matter your bad decisions in power, 5 years is enough to kind of remedy the situation. So the elections themselves are checks and balances to ensure that we have good leadership. I think what we should do is go to the polls, let us engage in this process vote and make sure that we vote in leaders who we think are going to do better than the previous cohort. I cannot speak for councillors, but if you feel that a certain councillor has not done right by you,
It's time to now get
it is
rid
now
of that
time
person.
to vote them out. Yes.
Oh, that's really
Yeah.
interesting. That is Kirabo Marion for you. She is with us here, and you have heard from her. Such a fighter. That's how your president branded you as. All the NUP
Really?
people that are fighters. That this is a struggle, no time
Yes.
to relax. And that is it. I do thank you, people who are watching us. You can leave your comment down there in the comment section. People watching us from all our social media handles. Our social media handle is at the Alternative Uganda. You can send in your question. You can tell us what you think about some of these issues, especially how the youth are being involved in these democratic processes in their country. My name is Keneth, and I'm with Honorable Kirabo Marion. We'll be taking a very short break, and when we do return, we'll be delving deeper into our topical discussion. For now, let's take a break. We'll be right back shortly. Don't go away.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hey Teddy, have you noticed how little attention science and health issues get in the media?
Totally, Edgar, yet science information is very important.
Yeah, for sure. That's why the Health Journalists Network is here.
How can they help?
They are a group of journalists dedicated to advancing public understanding of healthcare issues through impactful reporting on health and science.
Oh, really?
Yes, they meet up every month with scientists and researchers, policymakers, and activists at the science media cafes. They then relay what they discuss to the public.
Does that benefit us?
Oh yes, very much so. This helps with health and science literacy for a healthy Ugandan society.
Okay. I love getting informed about science and health issues. Health information makes all the difference between life and death. I'll look them up and engage them.
That's great. They are based all over the country.
Oh, okay, that's interesting, and they should be making real impact.
They are empowering health communities through journalism. Journalists can save lives just like doctors.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
All right, welcome back from that short break. We are still here. The conversation is very smooth with Honorable Kirabo Marion, and we are now delving deeper into our day's topical discussion, which is the youth influence towards the change of democratic dynamics in Uganda. We are seeing and we are about to see other youth being involved in some of the activities that are taking place in the country. Are they even part of that good change they want to see in Uganda? We'll be delving deeper into that, so please be part of this conversation and drop in your comment. I'll be reading it out, or if it is a suggestion or you submitting, please do it on all our social media handles at The Alternative Uganda, YouTube, and The Alternative Uganda Facebook. We are coming to you live from Uganda's capital, Kampala. Honorable Kirabo Marion, I would want to ask you, what do you think the youth should be, what is that role the youth should be playing in as far as their democratic rights are concerned?
I think the youth are already playing their role as they are right now. One, they're offering themselves up for leadership. Given the population, over 70% are young people. It should not shock people. I was hearing a conversation on that this time presidential candidates are very many and they're very young. I think that was bound to happen, especially when they removed the age limit. And given the fact that the population is 70%. So it shouldn't be shocking to people that young people are getting involved and also want to be presidents. I think it's also a show of no confidence in the current regime, and young people are saying it's a way of protesting and saying, get out, you know. So they're taking up leadership. Secondly, they're supporting their fellow young people or candidates that they believe in. You see them in rallies, you see them on talk shows, you see them speaking out, you see them on social media, giving their opinions about certain things, holding their leaders in check when they do not do things that are right. We have seen the several exhibitions that are there talking about issues affecting Uganda and things going in Parliament. So they're participating, they're having their voices heard, they are associating, a lot of them are joining political parties, a lot of them are involved in the mobilization process. So I think they're doing their roles in terms of the democratic systems, but they are also trying to be, you have also seen them in the protection of human rights and liberties. You see them at court. Whenever someone is arrested, they show up for their people. You see them mobilizing online to make sure they get bail money. So they are participating in each way they can in this democratic process and playing their role. I would say I give it up to young people for the innovations that they have also brought to this political space.
Yeah.
I think for the first time I have seen people fundraise online for a cause, for a movement, and I think that culture should remain. And seeing them speak up even when it's too dangerous to speak up. recently a Makerere student is still behind bars because they gave an opinion on Twitter and they were accused of hate speech. But you still see young people on social media still speaking out. And to me, I give kudos to young people for continuously pushing, even when it is hard.
Yeah, but we still see a reasonable percentage of the youth still not aware of this. Like, they are still there. They don't know what's happening. Like, people are now choosing, like, if you now social media, like, you see most of the youth are no longer interested in anything that is related to politics. Some of the youth, like a reasonable percentage, is into what's funny, what's entertaining. And like, there is that percentage where you fall, people like you who are now coming out as youth. But we still have that reasonable percentage that is still out of this. They don't even know these statistics that we are among the youngest populations in the world. Like, they are not involved in this. What is the main problem?
I don't think that is per se true. The thing would be perhaps because the internet is so limited and a lot of young people perhaps don't have access to it. That's why you're not seeing maybe their thoughts. But I think the youth are quite engaged. I mean, if you look at, and across political parties, look at the NRM primaries, most of the people who showed up to vote were young people. If you look at the vetting processes, NUP, young people. Even when you go to the so-called DFs and PFF, they will tell you that without young people, they have no engine, they have no fuel, they have no drive. It's the young people driving the politics, as you can see. Most of them may not be on the internet, but they are the ones that people will mobilize to show up for certain events. So they are involved. Like I said, the question is, how do you see that involvement? How do you see that expression? Are you gauging it from the internet? Are you gauging it from, and of which in the internet I've seen when you go to TikTok, even when, because I mean it's an entertainment platform. Yeah, these social medias were initially entertainment platforms. It doesn't mean that when I do funny videos that I'm not interested in, let me say, Hamchigundu taking over Nachivuvo. It is because I'm only human, and once in a while I like to make funny videos. But it doesn't mean that I am not involved in the politics. I've actually seen young people use their comic videos to criticize and, you know, and bring out the corruption and the evils of this government. So I wouldn't see it in that way. I would say perhaps they don't have these venues given to the limited scope of the internet, but you see that no one can have that political drive without young people, and there people actively, politicians are actively mobilizing them, so they are involved. Like, but the issue can be access by the platforms to express those opinions. No one is
giving them that platform to come out and speak.
speak. Second, it could be that I think it's mostly access. It's mostly access. It's mostly access. But I would also say that, you know, with access is because of the resources that you have. Most young people do not have the resources to even get that access to express themselves on different platforms. So I think really that's the big issue. But of course, the risks that come with that platform, you know, as I've pointed you out, there are several young people behind bars because of expression. Yeah, so I think those are the two things that are really hindering young people from expressing this opinion, but they do have it. And they are, when you go to the villages, when you go wherever, rural, urban areas, young people are expressing. The problem is the risk that come with it.
So some of them do not have the guts to continue that struggle. They choose to stay off camera and are contented with what's happening.
No, they're not contented with that
But
happening.
they have any other alternative.
If you are intimidated into something, it is not because you are content. But also, I think even with that intimidation, they are trying to make their voices heard. Recently, I was watching the news and I saw in Barara a young person going around spreading spreading information about NUP and, you know, really campaigning and advocating. And you see the way he was whisked off and put into a car, and I'm hoping that he was released. But sometimes these young people are not released and they end up coming out of prison with injuries and all sorts of trauma, and sometimes we never see them again. But still you see people, one person is taken and a person replaces them. So I would say that even when they're intimidated, they still try to show up, though not in the numbers that you would expect. Yeah, but they still try to show up. I mean, you are an armless population, you have no weapons, you have no military training, you're going against the military.
Good enough, you are now you're supporting the National Unity Platform, where people believe in their power, people power. Yes, the government may be armed, but we as Ugandans, as a country, Uganda, having over 70% being young, one would think that maybe if they wanted anything like that new Uganda some people dream of, like if that 70% was involved, maybe something would have happened, not taking that too long. We see some youth giving up, like you've been mentioning of those things where we see them arrested, like some are just taken to places where you can't even trace them. Isn't the system now, is the system silencing them to the extent that they are giving up? Or it's just a few percentage of people interested in that new Uganda?
I don't think it's a few percentage, unless you don't live in this country. Unless you don't live in, or you are very privileged that what plagues us, all of us, does not plague you. You might belong to the 1% who is able to go to Nairobi and be treated there, or to India or wherever. But if you're common Ugandan like the rest of us, struggling day by day, you do believe in this new Uganda, or you have hope. You might not believe in the different venues that people are using to get to this new Uganda, but you would want better for yourself. So I don't think that the rest of the population is not interested in a new Uganda. I think the challenge is the how. How do we get there? How to
achieve that new Uganda?
Yes, how do we get there? That is the question that has plagued us for the 30 plus 40 years that Museveni has been in power. That how do we muscle up to this man and get him out? Is it armed resistance? Is it non-violence? Is it a continuous electoral process whereby we feel sometimes that we have no voice? So the avenues have always been how. The question has always been what avenues. And I think the challenge has been for us agreeing on what those, which avenue, which vehicle. One will believe in non-violence. Others will believe in starting maybe armed resistance. Others will believe in electoral processes, and we'll have a disagreement. I was recently seeing a newspaper article talking about the cons and pros of defiance versus protest vote. You get, I think it has always been the mechanisms that we are using, the fact that we might not be able to agree, but also in not agreeing, I think we'll come to that point where all of us reach that consensus that this is the way to go. but for us to get to that point, it needs a constant build-up. That build-up can take 40 years, it can take 20 years, but we need to keep on engaging the population. We shouldn't give up on the population because they live in the same ecosystem that we live in. They're equally frustrated. We need to continuously engage them. I personally believe in non-violence. I don't believe in military governments. We have had so many of them,
Yes.
and the results have been the same. I believe in rule by the people, by civilian rule. So we need to keep on engaging the people that it is possible. Find mechanisms to give them constant hope until we build up to that point. So in conclusion, for me, I think it is the avenues. Perhaps the people do not agree on certain avenues. So the how, making people believe that if we use this route, we can make it happen. But that involves constantly engaging the population. I don't think we should give up on the population, or we should say that the population is comfortable. It is not comfortable. The question they ask themselves is, how do we get there? And we have to convince them that we can get there and that our avenue is the right one.
Has that question been answered to the youth who are asking, how do we get to that in Uganda? Do the youth have the same agenda? Like you said, some might be having hopes in maybe going against the government militarily. So some may be saying we should now like defiance or any other option that is available. Do the youth have that same agenda? Are they united to think in the same line so that they can achieve something, or they are not united, something that maybe would keep them behind? So is that question being answered? How do we get there? Do they have someone telling them how to get there and the right way to follow? Do they have it?
Well, we as NUP have shown a couple of mechanisms of how we can get there. One of the mechanisms, because we believe in non-violence, one of the mechanisms that we think can work is overwhelming the regime by turning up and making sure that your vote counts and protecting it. We are trying to engage the population, trying to show them that, you see, if we do not turn up, we're going to constantly have these people in power, and it's going to get worse and worse. And they are going to grow wings because they feel like we cannot do anything about it, that we are powerless. So we need to fight back with our voices. We need to fight back with our vote. We need to show them that we can do something in the ballot. You get? So those are the ways that we have shown, at least for us as a political party, that join us. But also the electoral season is a way to mobilize and engage the population, especially on matters affecting this country, on issues that we think that the populists might have not known or gotten word of, but this is the time to tell them this is what is happening, and therefore we need to fight back in order to correct the situation. So agreeing, perhaps we have not yet. We need to engage more. We need to engage the population more. We need to talk to them more and make them believe. There's a certain hopelessness, and we need to fight that hopelessness. So how we fight that hopelessness is to continue to campaign to them, continue to tell them that this is our country. We are stakeholders in this country, and therefore we cannot just leave it to whom it may concern. We need to constantly fight to make sure that we bring about that new Uganda.
But this gospel has been there for some good time. led by even Honorable Rubatsimbira and other people have been coming out and calling upon the youth to be involved in the new Uganda they want. Why are they still powerless? The largest percentage in this country. Why are they still powerless? Why is it still hard for them to understand that new strategy to follow for a new Uganda? What is forcing them to give up somehow?
I don't think they have failed to understand. Like I said before, you cannot, let me say, gauge how long a struggle can take. Liberation does not go at your pace. Building a movement is a step-by-step process, and it takes a while. And I gave you examples from, let me say, South Africa, let me say our own independence struggles, that when you're fighting against a powerful enemy, an enemy who is armed, an enemy who has these resources, Western allies that keep him in power, that continuously feed his arsenal, an enemy who has a spy network and forces everywhere. You, a person without resources, without, let me say, access to that network, you are unarmed, and you are civilian, and perhaps a good percentage of your population is even uneducated. So really the social class also puts them out of being able to access these resources and networks. That person, they cannot just come and fight you and muscle the gun out of the regime. You get?
Yeah.
By the time you reach 3-5 steps, you're shot dead. So that person has to use guerrilla tactics. That person has to, every step they take has to be strategic. That person has to take time planning on how to outwit you. And sometimes that takes long. Sometimes for the case of the apartheid, it will take maybe over, you are in prison for 20 years, like Nelson Mandela. Or it can be like the Arab Spring. Some dictators have even spent 20 years in power, and you're not being able to what? To get them out. And here comes this global, this international global movement that sweeps across Arab countries. So the thing is that the populace is not helpless. It has been fighting back. You get? But as in every war and every, let me say, every journey, there will always be that one point where things explode. It may take long, but that doesn't mean that we should give up. We should always show up to the battlefield every day, because at the end of that day, sitting back will not help us. There are some things we can salvage by showing up every day that we wouldn't have been able to if we lay back.
But there are some youth who are now choosing to give up. Like their fellows have died, have been, some are still in prison as we speak. So there is that population that is now saying enough is enough, let's give up. A population that would still not be with that struggle, they wouldn't still be in that struggle until maybe that special day where things now change for the better of Uganda. What could you tell those people out there who feel like this is the time to give up? Our brothers and sisters are dying. Nobody should go into real grave. We are seeing this is a total grave. We shouldn't be involved in such. Our lives may be no more if we are involved.
I think they should look to history. History has shown us the more repressive and violent a government is, it's usually signs that that government is in the evenings of its life. That because it has overstayed in power, that it first of all no longer has the moral legitimacy to stay there. It is turning on itself. The strongholds or the strong men and women who would have kept it have lost their grip, or some of them have passed away and have died, and therefore they need violence in order to keep the faith of the people with them, or to keep the people under them. So usually when a regime becomes more and more violent, it means that it is on its way, because the more repressive you become, the more people resist. And there will be that ticking point whereby it all explodes and we are able to take back our country. So to them, I would say that we shouldn't give up. We should keep on fighting. And one day, sooner than later, we will have our country back.
The youth have been used by politicians, some politicians, to fulfill their agenda. A wealthy politician gives the youth money to be, we have seen the so-called Gari. So, and they have been misused. Some of the Garis are in prison, those groups now. They were arrested. Like, some politicians are using the youth for their own good. So maybe this becomes one of the reasons why the youth are now saying we should get rid of now politics. Let's be out of politics. They are just using us. People are getting better after reaching up there with the support of the youth, but they still stay down. This is one of the reasons they are giving up. So you as a leader, what is your say about that issue where the youth are being used by these politicians? Give you 5K, you do this, you do it for him, he or she gets whatever she needed, and then you, the youth, end up in prison. What is your say about this? What should the youth do on this?
I think the youth should know their worth. That 5,000 should not be enough to buy your integrity and to buy.
But they are poor. They even need that 5,000.
Yes.
They are hungry.
Yes, I understand that most young people are languishing in poverty, and it's deliberate by the current regime to put them in that vulnerable state, because if you're hungry, you will not think about who becomes, who doesn't. You're thinking about what your next meal is. But I would say still that that person, you will take that 5,000 for that day, and this person will give it to you, and that will be the end of it. And they'll forget that you ever existed, and you will keep on languishing for the rest of the days. Because, you know, these people, they only give out that money once during campaigns when they know they need the vote, and then they disappear from you for 5 years. So you choose this 5,000 for a day, or someone who's going to fight with me for the next 5 years, who I know that I can reach out to, and they will pick up my calls, or I can go to their office and they will be able to help me in some way. So is it this small 5,000 for a day, or someone who's going to fight for me for 5 years? You need to weigh that opportunity cost, because how many, I don't think you can give everyone 5,000, but you can do things in your community as a leader that can greatly improve people's livelihoods and transform your community. Yeah.
Thank you. So when do we see now the youth being on top? Like, you may say, when the youth learn this, when they do this now, when they get involved in such, soon we are going to see the youth on top. What could be some of those things you say that if the youth start doing this and that, they will be on top?
I think the youth have started doing it, getting involved in the politics of their areas, reaching out and actually making themselves agents of civic education in their communities, getting out there and, you know, trying to improve their livelihoods. You know, we have seen a lot of young people starting up small scale businesses, because one of the things that holds us back especially politically, is the poverty. Like I gave an example, when you're thinking, when your stomach is hungry,
you can't think of any other thing.
You can't think of any other thing. So young people are trying to find alternatives. There are no jobs, so they are trying to build businesses. The trouble is that the climate, recently we have had traders go on strike because of taxes, and some weeks before that there were young people online very aggrieved at how URA is constantly holding their goods at the airport and not allowing them to access it because of the high taxes. But I also think that that level of advocacy is also important for young people, that I'm starting my business, let me fight to make sure that government policies change so that I can have this environment to run my business. So we just have to constantly and fearlessly, and the key word being fearlessly, advocate for what we deserve, or for what we think we deserve. So we deserve an environment whereby our businesses are not constantly choked on taxes, and therefore we find avenues, irrespective of political parties, avenues in which to advocate for those harsh policies to be removed. We are constantly going out to the community and telling people, like, march to parliament, no to corruption and the corruption that's taking place in parliament. But also I think what could take it a notch higher and help us is what I would say that for example in East Africa, I think we have gotten to learn that our situations when it comes to our politics are not that different. So having a Kenyan standing in solidarity with a Ugandan, and let me say a Ugandan standing in solidarity with the Tanzanian, I think is a very good trend that we have to continuously feed into and reach out. I think there are things that we can learn from each other, new strategies we can learn from each other, but also when things become too hard, your Kenyan brothers and sisters can be able to shield you. I will take us back to history when I say, when fighting Amin, the Obotes and the Musevens will tell you that Julius Nyerere was their best ally when it came to that. Perhaps alone they would not have been able to
get rid of that government.
But with the help of Julius Nyerere, they were able to. So I think we need to lean into that, given our history, but also looking at the independence struggles, how their different countries came in to help other countries in helping get rid of their colonial governments. So I think it's a good thing. It's something that has propped up that we should encourage. The other thing is that solidarity that we have seen. When someone is locked up, we're able to mobilize. I think it should continue. I think we shouldn't give up on that. Those are good and innovative things that we are coming up with in this struggle. And I think we should keep them up. So I believe that if we constantly do what we are doing and find ways to improve it, our time will come.
So like now, the strategies, you the leaders, though you're not yet in power, but you've been a leader somewhere, or you still hope to put up some strategies that would help maybe the youth or any other Ugandan, but now specifically the youth. Are there strategies that the leaders have put in place for these youth so far? Or the youth are just there on their own suffering?
Strategies, you mean government or us?
Any person, like the leaders specifically, or in the government, or even like other people outside government, like who are trying to put there some strategies for the youth to come on top?
I think the strategies that have been put in place have not worked, especially by government. And the reason why they have not worked is that the environment does not allow them to work. if we're talking about, let me say, and for me, really, nothing can work until this government changes. That is my belief. No matter how good your projects are, they will be corrupted in some way, they will be co-opted in some way. So for example, PDM, and I've been going around my constituents, the fact that there's a lot of corruption within the PDM process. One, people get money in other people's names and never deliver it to them. So even when you keep on pursuing this money, it seems like you have to go through a lot of loopholes in order to get it. And it seems like you have to be a bit connected to someone in the office to get them. But even when you get, there has to be that percentage that goes to the person who has what? Who has helped you get that PDM. So instead of 1 million, you come back with around 6, 8, and you're supposed to
pay that for
the 1 million. But also, given the hostile business environment, the heavy taxes, let me say the road network, let me say jam and all those, but also the price of the rates of rent. The cost of business in this country is very expensive. So you see that even the 1 million they give you is just a drop, that it cannot even cover the expenses of the business that you're running. So in the end, you're going to invest it, but because it was not enough, you're not able to even get the profits to feed back, to pay back the loan, or for it to be impactful. So for me, I think the first thing is that we need to fix our business, because the most thing that is affecting youth is livelihood. Most of them are struggling and living under the poverty line on less than $1 a day. So, and a good chunk of them are now educated, but they still don't have jobs. So we need to look into the economy, the business environment, reduce the taxes, fix URA, because I know for a fact that the corruption in URA is some of the reason why someone is taxed so highly, but when you go to estimate how much tax they're supposed to pay, it's much less. So the corruption everywhere is making the business environment so hostile. But also, given the fact that we're in election time, and the more that this government wants to remain in power, the more that it needs resources for that. So they will tax and tax the population,
be able to fund
into oblivion. Yes. But also, given the fact that the Western allies are pulling out some of you saw the whole debacle with Trump defunding and reducing funding that's sending to other countries, and Uganda has been affected. So that also puts more pressure on us, the taxpayers, because government wants
more money to fulfill some of these programs. But still, now the opposition has been celebrating this, saying this is a good move if the foreign government stop funding Uganda. And now it is the Ugandans, the youth, who are facing this in a hard way. Like, the government will still need those taxes, and the government will need them from the people. So, not the spokesperson of opposition, but do you think this is a great move if the opposition can celebrate such a move when funding is reducing on our side, and yet there are Ugandans who will suffer the consequences?
I think it comes from the notion that the element of there being a social contract between government and the people. We pay you taxes, you have to provide social services, and if you don't provide them, we will turn against you, we will riot. Now the thing about the thing about having someone else paying that bill is that the government now has to account to someone else other than the people, because it's the foreign allies that are facilitating you. And for them, they will not care about whether your people are in poverty, whether hospitals are a mess, or whether your roads have a lot of potholes. No, for them, they will care about, let me say, their interests. You know, their interests being, let me say, in countries where there are minerals, they want to take away the minerals. They care about their multinational corporations having an environment for them to thrive. That's why you see that some of them are tax exempted for like 5 years. You get. So you, the people, will not have a stake in your affairs because you don't pay for anything. You get. You are not funding this government, and therefore whoever holds the pipe plays the tune. You get.
So the government just benefits from these. The common man still remains the same.
Exactly. Now, on the other hand, if these foreign allies pull out their funding, meaning the only people who can fund would be the common Ugandan,
where the youth are 70 and above percentage.
So you're taxing me into oblivion. I have no job. I have no means of livelihood. You are putting me under this hostile business environment. Perhaps it can drive me to stand up to you for the sake of my well-being, and tell you that, you know what, I am tired of this.
So it will act as a wake-up call to all Ugandans is to now say enough is enough. Let's fight for that in Uganda. All right, that's really wonderful. We are still with Honorable Kirabo Marion, and we are talking about youth influence towards the change of democratic dynamics in Uganda. She has really given us a great submission on this issue, and I believe you people out there are learning. We are all learning, even me here. I'm learning, she's learning as well, because though she's the one teaching us. So I would like to ask you about these youth now. Like, what can they do now to get out of poverty? Because we all agree that the reason as to why they have been out, their voice hasn't been heard. Partly unemployment and poverty has contributed a lot. They feel like they are very desperate, they need money to survive, so politicians can fool them in whatever way they want. How can they eradicate poverty? Or how can they even deal with unemployment as the government gets better, as we reach to that in Uganda?
As the government gets better. Unlike other people, I don't believe that our lives can improve unless we change this government. Because day by day, they show you that they don't care about you. And it is very hard to... There's a role that government plays. I would say, for example, right now we are having the tax debate about the price of goods and the cost of business in this country. The only person who can reduce taxes is government. When we're talking about the road network, our potholes or the flooding in Kampala, the fact that when it rains, moving becomes entirely impossible. So if it's going to rain for 1 month, then most likely you may not make money for that 1 month if you're a business owner, because there's no way of transportation. When we're talking about being able to compete in this market where there's a multinational that is receiving a 5-year tax exemption, and for you, the local business that is starting, employing Ugandans, and whose, unlike the multinational whose capital is going to go to their country, your capital stays here, that you're not given the same exemptions, that is all government. You get. So if you have a government that doesn't care, there is little you might be able to do if you have a government that is not driven towards making sure that its people prosper and is frustrating that prosperity, there is little you might be able to achieve. But on the other hand, I would say that what young people need to do is continuously to advocate for themselves, continuously fight to make sure that that some of these policies are done away with, advocate for a better business environment, advocate for better health services, advocate for better roads. Let's continue what we've been doing. I mean, we have had the pothole exhibition, and now we see that road repairs have started and the roads are looking better now. We have had the corruption exhibition. We are yet to see results from there, but you can clearly see that our push has some low-hanging fruits.
Yeah, you've talked about tax exemption on the foreign investors who come here to invest in Uganda, and President Museveni has been saying that all these are moves to solve unemployment. Like if investors know that in Uganda for the first 5 years you will be free from paying taxes, they will be attracted. And when they come here, they set up their factories and the youth will get jobs. So unemployment will be solved. The president says he has been doing his very best to make sure that the youth have a better life in Uganda. Don't you think this is a good move, where investors are given such favors for them to be attracted to come in Uganda, for our youth to get jobs?
He has been in power for 40 years. Do you feel like the lives of young people have improved? Are they just going to improve in these 2+ years towards elections? You've been complaining about unemployment for how many years now? And he seems to have
But it's a
found
slow process, like you said. You can't solve all the challenges at once.
Not
Maybe
really.
he has done
really.
something.
I think when we look at countries that we aspire to, let me say, okay, Western countries, or let me say, but also our neighbor Kenya.
Yeah.
You have seen that in the last 40 years, there was a time when Kenya was a bit worse off than us. There was a time when actually Uganda was doing quite well. But in the last 40 years, we have lagged behind most of our East African counterparts. We can barely compete with Kenya. Rwanda seems to be moving fast ahead of us. You get. So I think if you want to weigh him, you compare him to what other countries have done in the last 40 years compared to him. How has our progress done? Those countries have been, okay, apart from Rwanda, have been trying to change presidents, and you can quite see that they are progressing quite well, better than us. So I think that gives you also a question on, is it necessarily that this man is doing what he's supposed to do, or maybe he has run out of ideas and he should leave and let other people take over.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Marion. It's really nice sharing with you. So now I want us to take a look into Kampala now. Like there is this issue where the Lord Mayor, Elias Lukwago, has been fighting so hard, saying Hamis Chigundu wants to overtake Kampala. He has got authority probably from President Museveni to take over the Nachivubo drainage channel. And we had Lord Mayor saying that some councillors were actually supporting her, although they came out yesterday and were like, you must apologize. If you think any one of us took the money, point them out. Who is this person? What is your say about this? As someone who's planning to come into leadership, what do you say about this issue? Is Ham right?
Well, I would say that there has been a history of dubious people taking government land under unscrupulous, using unscrupulous means. Nachivuvo's channel is not just a drainage channel, but it is also a stream. It is, with a country that is constantly facing floods because of the encroachment of swamps and natural avenues through which, you know that most of Kampala is a wetland, you know. So the more you encroach on the swamps and the more the flooding increases, because the water that is naturally supposed to be there has nowhere to go. So no wonder we have every rainy season, we have a flood, we have floods in Kampala. So I understand where the Lord Mayor is coming from when he says that you now want to take one of the last drainage systems that we have, and you want to, in essence, you will be increasing the flooding in Kampala. And then the thing is that, whereas people say that we do not want open drainage systems, I will still insist that Nachivubo is a natural stream. Ideally, if you wanted to preserve, let me say, the beauty of Kampala, what other countries have done is that they create green belts around those natural places, that you have a stream that is running through the city. It's clean, it even has fish, like it's so clean that it even has, I've seen that in Japan, whereby there are streams that go through the city, but the city is built around them in such a way that they add beauty to the city. So that's one way. It doesn't mean that you have to close it up. You can actually create like a green belt around it. The question would be, let me say, how you make sure that people don't throw in the trash and what, but I think that also comes to the issue of garbage disposal in Kampala, and which I think, okay, that's an issue for another day, but if you work on the issue of garbage disposal, I think you can solve that. But the thing about the Lord Mayor, what I would agree with him is the fact that Ham Chigundu seems not to have presented a plan. And then also, why is it the president directing you to be given this land? There are mechanisms through which the disposal of government land should happen. I mean, KCC should be involved, NEMA should be involved, because this is a drainage channel. What are the effects? We don't know the impacts of what your plan will be. And so there are a lot of things. The dubiousness of the process gives no confidence to anyone that actually these guys are going to put up structures that are not going to cause more flooding. So I do agree with him that the proper channels should have been taken, because, again, this government has proved to us time and time again that they do things and they don't care about the consequences. So we need a report from NEMA. We need Ham Chigundu should be able to present his plans so that we see and we can gauge.
But it is said that Hamis Chigundu is actually planning to set up a modernized waste management system. If he, like you said in Japan, an example of those drainage channels in Japan, how do they treat their waste? Like that is the kind of system that maybe Hamis is planning to bring in Kampala. Don't you think this is for the good of the people? Some people are now saying that Honorable Kwagu is just now playing politics, that people just want to be in news, that this is a good move, they should even support her.
Well, my argument would be that if you feel that your plan is so nice that it's going to improve, then show it. Why are you hiding? Why don't you go through the right channels and show this grand wastage system that you believe that is going to improve everything?
That you know Ugandans will
that
like.
You know they will like. Put it on table. put it on table and show us how you're going to build this underground, because I've been hearing people talking about underground sewers. Let us see that, how you're going to build that, you get, and what the cost will be, which I highly doubt that him as one person can actually have that much money to have underground sewer systems in the whole of Kampala, but I never know, it's not to me. Usually those are massive projects that only government can be able to facilitate. I highly doubt that whatever he's going to do can be that massive, because underground tunnels, the sewage system goes underground, you know. I doubt it.
In a letter we saw, which is said to be from the office of the president, he says Ham's proposal was that he could recover his money put in that system by setting up buildings on top of that drainage channel. Maybe allowing people to come and rent those premises, then he could get the money. So he's a rich person. We think maybe he could have done that. And another thing, that drainage channel has been too local. Like, it has been very dirty. Our local drainage channels in the country, like, you know, like its existence has been of a great threat to the neighboring people. Like, because some people are saying there are some people who are doing their business around the channel, but their health has been at stake. Why not appreciate someone who has come out to change that narrative?
Well, one, like I said, Nachivubo was originally a stream. It's a stream. I am one of the few people who objects to let us reclaim everything. Let us build on everything. Because Kampala, a big percentage of Kampala is wetland. So where does this water go? That is why we have the constant thing of flooding. Now, if we had proper planning people, it would be, how do we maintain this ecosystem, not destroy it, but also have enough land for habilitation. That should be the conversation that we should be having, not building over things. You get, because then you're going to cover up every place that this water would have been able to settle, or every place that this water would have gone. But then secondly, even if we're talking about an underground sewage system, I still insist that if your plan is so grand and you have the capacity, the money, it takes nothing from you to present it in front of KCCA
and tell us what you're going to do.
Tell us what you're going to do.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe your last remarks to our viewer and to your voters.
My last remarks would be, like I said, I am running for LC5 Woman Councillor Makerere. I think we have an opportunity this election to vote into power leaders who actually care about us, to vote into power leaders who actually have a plan and who have a proven track record on working for the people. So I request them to vote me as someone who has had a proven track record and as someone who continuously fights for the people, even when I'm not in power. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was very interesting. We now wish to say goodbye to your viewer, but we thank you for always following us. If you have watched us for the first time, this is Digitalk TV. We are operating on all our social media handles at The Alternative Uganda. Thank you, Jeremiah, for watching us. I've seen your message. You have been following, and all of you out there who have followed this conversation. I've been with Honorable Kirabo Marion. She is aspiring LC5 Woman Councillor, Makerere University. She's coming on the NUP card. So we do thank you so much for joining us here on the Mighty Drive and for really teaching the youth out there. I believe right now the youth would now be on top because you have encouraged them. Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure having you. And to our viewer, thank you so much. I remain Keneth Rwemirembe. For now, good afternoon or evening, depending on the time you're watching this.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.